Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Lilith and today I will be reviewing Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I'm not going to be doing a full review of all the spoilers and everything because I think it's important for this book to not know the ending of it. And so you can enjoy reading it yourselves. This won't be like a regular thing for all of them. I just think that for this one, it is good to not know the ending. So I'm gonna be doing like an overview, my feelings about it, and yeah. Also, I found this copy that has these really pretty sprayed edges. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the camera and stuff, but it has these details that look like a film camera, which I think is just so cool. The cover is textured. I got it from Barnes & Noble because they had like a 25% off end of the year sale for the whole store, and so I grabbed this, and I grabbed Even Though We Knew the End, which I plan to do eventually. I know Reads by Rachel, I believe, just did a review on that. I have not watched her video, but I plan to eventually after I read the book myself because I don't want to get spoiled for it. So with that, I'm going to get into the review. In this book, we're never given the name of our main character. He's just our main character, or his role in the horror movie The Thin Kid. So he narrates his experience on the set of a movie which was simply known as Horror Movie. And he tells us of like his main experiences while on the set, and one of the main things was that he only got his script scenes the day before filming, so he never knew what was going on, and the director did this so he could better immerse himself in the character, and this is replicated for the reader as short bits of the script interspersed between the chapters, which I thought was really interesting because it like gives you a part of the script before telling you that he only got the script between days. So it has like the first chapter, and then it goes into, again with my camera, oh my gosh, I need to hold it this way, the actual script of the movie, which I thought was really cool, and I really liked that setup. A lot of people don't. I was looking at the Goodreads reviews, and a lot of them were like, oh, this is terrible, nothing happens in this book, which, to an extent, I'll agree, not a lot actually happens. But I found a lot of like the thrill of it was finding out the plot of the movie and like why, because he would talk about like, he's like, oh, this is what happened on set when we filmed this scene, and then it would go into that scene, which I really liked, because then he's also like, oh, and then this went wrong while he was filming it. So I thought that was really interesting to me. So the plot of the movie in the book is there's a group of these four friends: Cleo, Carson, Valentina, and the Thin Kid. The three named characters are also the names of the actual actors and the key people in the book. So Valentina was also the director of the movie, Cleo was the playwright, and then Carson was one of the makeup artists. And they all had like gone to high school together. They did not know the Thin Kid until Valentina went to college, and she met him while he was working at a bar, but they didn't actually go to college together. He was at like some fancy college, I think, and she was at a community college, or vice versa. I'd have to reread the chapter, but it's something like that. They didn't go to the same school. But in the movie, the three friends come together to perform a ritual on the Thin Kid to turn him into a bloodthirsty monster. They find like this latex mask in this abandoned high school. This is like what actually like happened. Like Cleo did find this mask and she gave it to him, and that's what started the like whole idea of the movie. And he wore the mask throughout the film, and like it's a big thing throughout the book. He's like, I still have the mask, I think it's so cool. So the narrator has a lot of anecdotes throughout the book that I would say are mostly inconsequential to the final story. And it wasn't really relevant. However, I found the book really hard to put down. And like two of the main things that like happen in this book is, one, the narrator tells us about how everyone from set died in some tragic way, and describes how like Valentina died of cancer, Carson got in a car accident. Those are the main two. But he's like, oh, you already know what happened to Cleo, and I'm like, no, sir. I do not know what happened to Cleo. Please enlighten me. And so that was like one of the big things, was to read through the book because I was like, what happened to Cleo? And there's like occasional like mentions of a trial. I'm like, what happened to Cleo? What happened to her? So this was like one of the reasons why I found it really hard to put down. And then the like second main story he tells us about is being part of a reboot of horror movies, since the original was never released. There was 3 scenes that Valentina posted along with some stills and the full script. But the whole movie was never actually posted, which we find out why at like the very end. And so I was like, okay, why wasn't it released? How is this reboot? What's going on? And like I kept expecting it to have like more of a horror turn somewhere, of like, because he's like, oh, the mask is cursed, haha. And I was like, ooh, cursed mask. And it just like never had that, but I was still like really intrigued regardless about like the making of the movie and stuff, even though nothing happens. Also, another thing is that this book is like the narrator giving an audiobook about working on the movie, so it's like it's very meta. It's very meta. But I like that too. I think all of like the intricacies of that is super fun and really appealing when done well in storytelling, and I think that this was done well. So like I said, I'm keeping this review shorter, and I'm not spoiling the end because I think you should find out for yourself what happened to Cleo. And then there's like a final ending after we discover what happened to Cleo, and it's him talking about working on the movie. And I felt like the final ending takes away from the message from the script. And like a big thing is that all of the teenagers were monsters. They bullied the thin kid throughout the script to turn him into this monster, and it says that like the audience is complicit, which is like very poignant in the script sections. There's one part here. I think I have it marked. I ran out of sticky notes. So I only have it through like the first half of the book. I wrote page 95, but I don't have anything marked. Here it is, 98. I don't know why I wrote 95. So it says, we are focused on the closed entrance door from inside the classroom. This is not the thin kid's point of view. It's ours, as though we stayed with him overnight, like we do every night, to make sure he didn't disobey, that he's still there. We're doing to him what the teens are doing. We're complicit. And like, it really has like that message of, you are a monster, these other kids are monsters, everyone is wearing a mask, everyone is not who they say they are. And I felt like the ending really, really took away from that, and I felt disappointed and overall just cheated. Some other people on Goodreads said that they could see the final ending coming and that they couldn't really see any other explanation than what happened. I didn't see it coming though, and so I felt the narrator was very unreliable. He gives like 2 varying stories for an injury that occurs. Part of his pinky like gets cut off, and so one of them is like, oh well, I actually put my pinky in between the garden shears so I could feel like what it was to be the thin kid for a moment. And then later in the book, he's like, oh, actually, Valentina cut off my pinky 15 years later, right before we posted the stills to the movie to add to like the legend of the movie. So he is an unreliable narrator. So I didn't like see the ending coming like some other people said that they did. And I, again, not sharing it because I think that the book is worth reading and it makes it less fun if you know the ending of this book. I had fun with it overall. The whole way through, I was like, 5 out of 5 stars, let's go. This book is great. I would read it again, I would read it again. I'm sure that there's a ton of things that I missed reading it through the first time. But I felt so cheated and disappointed by the ending that I moved it down to 4 stars when I reviewed it on Goodreads, because I just couldn't in good faith be like 5 out of 5 stars when I was like disappointed about the ending. I can, when going back, I could like look at an analysis of how the ending does make sense and fits with the message of the book, but I'm going with my immediate feelings after finishing it, which was that I am disappointed. This is not how I wanted it to end. Yeah, and that is my thoughts. bit of a shorter review today because I'm not going into it super plot-wise, and I feel like I just can't with this sort of book, with how it has this script interspersed. And it's not really a plot, it's more of like a bunch of anecdote type things. That being said, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested to see what I'm reading throughout like my weeks, I do have an Instagram. It's just Lilith B. Tay, same as the Instagram, or Lilith Taylor. You can search it up. You'll see me as the profile photo, so it'll be easy to recognize. So you can follow me on Instagram. I will add a link in the description as well. Like I said, I want to read, even though we knew the end eventually. I'm currently reading Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark for my science fiction and fantasy class. And then I'm also reading The Storm We Breathe by Elaine Evans, which is an arc. It's going to be published February 26th, I believe. So I'll probably post a review to that on my Goodreads as soon as I'm done with that. I'm hoping to have that finished by next week, so it has plenty of time to give the author feedback and everything. And I'll probably do a video review after that is published. And that's what my schedule looks like so far. I don't know if I'll do a video review on Ring Shout just because it is a shorter book. It's a lot of the books that I'm reading for I'm reading that for a science fiction and fantasy class, and that one is a lot of novellas and stuff. But I've reviewed novellas on here before. I did do What Moves the Dead. So we'll see if you guys want a review of that. I definitely can. Otherwise, the next video I'll post will probably be Even Though We Knew the End or The Storm We Breathe. Alright, thank you so much again for watching. I'm Lilith. Take care, everyone.